If you're about to do your first ever couple session in the studio, then wait and watch this video first. If you've done a couple session before and your pictures look like this, but you'd much rather they came out looking more like this, then stick around because I've got some top tips in this sort of back to basics session. And it's basic for lots of reasons. I mean, just a plain white background, just one flash throughout, and to begin with, on-camera flash. It doesn't get much more simple than this. So let's get a light set. Let's get a model in. No, they're not models, and there's two of them. They're a real couple, and let's get shooting. To help me out today, I've got the amazing Jack and Annabelle. They're going to be the couple for this video, and because this is a back to basics style video, I wanted to start with on-camera flash. But before I get to any flashes, I need to deal with the ambient light in here. So I'm going to dial in some settings into my camera that aren't going to change too much. I'll start with the flash sync speed, which for this Sony camera is 1/250th of a second. Then my aperture, f11. Now that's important, and I'll talk about that as we go along. And ISO 400. That might change as I change flashes, but for now, if I take a picture at those settings without any flash firing, no flash, no picture, I've got control of the room lights. With my camera set up, I'm ready to take my first picture, and I'm going to use on-camera flash because that has to be the simplest way to go. And to keep it even simpler, I'm going to let the camera and the flash do the work with TTL mode. Okay, here we go. Let's see what we get. There's a couple of problems here, all of which we can fix. There's the shadows going off to the side, and also everything seems a little bit dark. Okay, let's try and fix it looking a little bit dark. So because I'm using TTL and we've got a lot of white in the photo, it's underexposing the image. I'm going to tell my flash to increase the TTL exposure by +1. One more stop of light. That's double the flash power. So now we have a much brighter photo, but that shadow is absolutely terrible. So the easiest fix for that is just to turn the flash. These flashes can turn and rotate, and now the flash is going to go up as well as forward, but there is a bit of a problem because if I turn my camera to the side and bounce it like this, the shadow actually comes back. And that's because although the light is going up to the ceiling, a small amount is also going forward, and that's what's casting that really crisp shadow. So if you are going to bounce your flash, the key, the secret, the most important thing, make sure that none of the surface of the flash can be seen by your subjects. That basically means getting it absolutely vertical, whichever way you're going to point your camera. It's quite a challenge, but I think we're there. So if you two are ready, let's take a few photos like this. One of the key basics of couple photography is make sure that they are both in focus. And I'm doing that by using an f11 aperture, particularly important when I'm going in closer with a reduced depth of field, but also I'm making sure that the poses they're doing, their heads are roughly equally positioned to try and help manage my depth of field. And with that small aperture in mind, plus the fact I'm bouncing this off a ceiling, and I don't have the most powerful on-camera flash, that's why I'm using ISO 400. On-camera flash can get you a long way, but ultimately it's off-camera flash that gives you the most options, and especially with couples. But where you put your off-camera flash and how you use it is going to make a difference. So let's run through the basics of that. I've got a slightly bigger flash, I'll explain why in a moment, and I've put it off to the side, which is kind of where I would put it if I was photographing just one person. Now, if I take a picture like this, let's have a look at the results. I've already metered this out. You could use a flash meter, you could do trial and error, however you want to do it, it's absolutely fine, except the image is really not good. Once again, we have quite a heavy shadow going off to the side. And this time, I'm going to fix it, not by bouncing the light, but by making the light bigger, by actually making the light bigger, using a softbox in this case. Once again, I've made sure that the light coming out of my flash matches my camera settings, and with the softbox I have had to increase the light output to about 1/4 power, which is why I'm using the bigger flash. Okay, let's have a little look at this. This should give us much softer shadows because, well, it's a much larger light source. And the larger the light source, the softer the shadows. Except it won't remove the shadows. In fact, far from it, there are definitely shadows in this picture, and some of them are going from Annabelle onto Jack. So I know I can't get rid of the shadows, but I do know I can control their direction. And the easiest way to control their direction is to bring the light to the front. But I'm not going to change the distance, I'm going to leave the distance about the same. Now, when I leave the distance the same, the amount of light that reaches Jack and Annabelle should be about the same. In other words, I can take a picture and this should just work. Let's have a little go, let's see what we get. So now we're getting somewhere. We've got some shadows, but they're not as angular, which means our couple can move and they're less likely to cast a shadow on each other. In fact, the more central I put my flash, the more the shadows disappear. So if I get it slightly out of shot but still in the middle, then I'm going to get a good picture, but you might be able to spot a bit of a problem. Yeah, pretty obvious, isn't it? And in fact, not only is that a problem, but it's also a solution, because if I actually take my light and move it further away, then I'm using something called the inverse square law to make my photography a little bit easier. And that is this setup ready to go. We can move Annabelle and Jack around a lot more in this setup, so I think we should take a few photos. Are you two ready? Okay, here we go. We've got you covered on Adorama TV if you need more detailed information about the inverse square law, but basically, in this scenario, if I move my light far away, I get even illumination across the scene, which gives me a lot of freedom to not worry about the exposure. Because if Jack and Annabelle move closer or slightly further away from the light source, I know it's not going to really change my exposure enough to worry about. Obviously, not everybody can pose in the way that Annabelle and Jack just did. So I'm going to show you some simple posing and interaction techniques to try and make your couple portraits just a little bit more exciting than this. Because this is what happens. If you ask people just to stand next to each other, they will literally just stand next to each other, and you have a truly static picture. But you can actually take this pose and improve it really easily by asking your couple just to turn around. So can you just turn around? There you go. Just by turning them around so they're facing to the side, instantly makes this a better picture. And if you really want your subjects to relax in front of the camera, then give them a prop, give them something to do, distract them from what's actually going on. And in this case, I'm actually going to give Annabelle a camera. There we go, Annabelle, have a camera. That she can take some pictures of Jack. It doesn't work, but don't tell Annabelle that. We'll tell her later. Okay, let's see how this looks. Are you two ready? Take a few photos like this. Here we go. Actually, you can probably ignore all of the technical stuff we've covered so far, because this is probably the most important bit. If your couple are having fun, it will show in their photos, and this prop is just a means to that end. Fun photography sessions means great photos, means happy memories, means a happy couple. The lighting on today's session was never meant to be dramatic or creative. It was always supposed to be safe, sensible, reliable, and that had another bonus as well, because the images of the couple just looked nice. The sort of thing they might actually want to print, share, and that's a win in my book. Now, if you want to ask me any questions about what we've done, then pop a comment down in the comments section. And of course, click on that subscribe button. And if you want to see more videos from us on the Adorama TV team, then why not go watch our next video right up there. I'm Gavin Hoey. Thanks for watching.